Welcome to the Purposeful MD podcast. As a physician, you've sacrificed so much of your life for other people, your patients, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. What would it feel like to spend time doing what you enjoy and to live without guilt? I'm your host, Dr. Laura Sutton, a family physician, certified coach, and business owner. If you're a medical professional on a journey towards your most purposeful life, a life with more time and energy, and ultimately more joy, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the Purposeful MD podcast. I'm so excited to have my guest today, Ms. Rachel Pedersen. So I'm going to read her bio. Rachel Pedersen has scaled her businesses to 8-figure revenue. That's incredible. Grown a fan base of 3+ million followers, reached over 100 million people annually and organically during a lazy year, as she says, currently co-writing a fantasy book with her husband, and she's already spent way too much time perfecting the linguistic rules of her high fantasy language. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us, Rachel. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Laura. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so Rachel is a multi-hyphenate, incredible content creator, course creator, and it's been an inspiration to me on my entrepreneurial journey. Joined the social click a couple months ago, I believe. Trying to remember exactly when, but I've been following you on Instagram for years and just really enjoy everything that you put out, enjoy your just your authenticity and your willingness to share, and just you're not sugarcoating anything, and I love that, and I think that that's so special today. So tell us
Mhm.
about tell us about you. Tell us about your journey, as just dive in as much as you'd like to share with the audience.
For sure. And something I want to point out before you even joined the social click, I knew your name because you would comment and your comments were intentional. Like there was just a beautiful, I don't know, a beautiful vibe behind it. And so when people think like, oh, I can't get the attention of this business or this person I want to collab with. No, you absolutely can. Because the second I saw your name come up on a call, I was like, how do I know her? You know what I mean? It was wild, but social can do that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my journey actually started with that exact thing. So I was super active on MySpace and Facebook, like in the early days of both.
MySpace. Yes.
I miss it still, the whole top eight. You remember the drama when you would like change where a friend was in?
Yes. Oh, wow. Memories.
Oh, I was just telling my kids about that the other day, and they were looking at me like I was an alien the whole time.
I'd
So,
forgotten all about that. Yes.
Mhm. So wild. So I was a single mom and I grew up in poverty. My dad was a pastor growing up. My mom was the worship leader. And then later on in my life, my dad became a nurse and my mom went down other paths. And so it was interesting because we grew up very much so in poverty. And then I became a single mom at the age of 21, and the path wasn't looking super different. But I would, watch The Bachelor at night, and then I would tweet at the stars of The Bachelor and be like, I wonder if I can get their attention or whatever, or share something like, oh, you really inspired me with what you said, or something, only true things. And then I was reaching out to producers and stuff. And all of a sudden, these producers of The Bachelor started tweeting me back. And keep in mind, this was 13, 14 years ago. And I had a baby. I'm literally living down the street from a prison. The house next door to us is constantly being raided. So like my whole life is just there's crime around us. It's not safe. And for me, it was like this portal opened up to this whole new world. And I was like, you mean to tell me that through social media, I can connect with people who are successful and in Hollywood? And this is so bizarre to me. I can't even afford a plane ticket to California, you know? So that was my first glimpse at it. And then when I became a hairstylist, I just started using social media before and after pics. Like, here's my client whose hair felt really thin and she wanted it to be full for her wedding. And here are her extensions. And look how beautiful this is, and just showcasing that. And my business grew the more I posted. And I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. One day a client sat down though and she said we started talking about like Shark Tank and all this stuff and she's like, "Oh, my husband and I bought this franchise. It's called Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits." And I was like, "That's a mouthful. I love it. Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits." And by the end of her hair appointment, it was our first time seeing each other, her first time at the salon, one of those kind of like destiny moments.
Hmm.
She said, "Could we hire you to come and help us with our social media?" And I was like, yeah, I think so." So before every single meeting, I'd make her send me a detailed agenda so I could Google everything and learn how to do it in time for the meeting so I could deliver on the promise. And that's us here today.
That's incredible. I had heard that story. Well, you talk about it in your book
Yeah.
Unfiltered, which I loved so much. And
Thank
so thank you for putting that out into the world.
you so much. It was one of those crazy cool moments. The wife's name was Jeannie, but still is Jeannie Batulf, and she poured into me, and I still to this day don't fully understand why. I think she had been I mean, I know she had been a single mom, but she just poured into me, and she was like, "Rachel, the way you communicate isn't translating for a CEO. Here's how you communicate with a CEO. Here are the bullet points. You get to the point. You don't explain your feelings. You just go for it." And she would just mentor me in ways like that while I was working for them. And it was quite possibly the most valuable education I've had in professionalism.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was life-changing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that shift? And you said that was what, 12, 13 years ago?
Yeah. Let's see that chance encounter was when I was a few months pregnant with Delilah, our second. So Paul and I were still pretty newly married. We got pregnant a month after getting married. Literally, it was
Mhm.
just poof, okay. Um, and yeah, so that would have been almost 12 years ago. Wow. That's wild. 12 years ago. And then from there, I was like, well, I should go into marketing or do I get a degree? No, I have too much debt. There's no way I can't afford a marketing degree. So I went and applied for marketing agencies, just positions I saw. And time again, I would get the you don't have a degree, you don't have a degree. But I finally found my way into corporate marketing, first through an agency I stayed at for a few months. And then I went to a tech company. And that one was one of those another weird destiny moment where you're like, how did I get this? Are you sure you meant to interview me? Like my resume does not show that I'm qualified to be a marketing manager of an Inc. 5000 tech company. But they liked me and it went really well and I got the role and then I was boom in marketing. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they saw something in you clearly, and how your ability to connect with other people and really to speak the language that of just any industry, you can kind of mold yourself in order to speak that language and kind of meet the customer. I always feel like when I read your emails that like you know exactly what I'm thinking. And so that's what's so brilliant because you can do that and then you can also distill it down and translate it into a mechanism that then you can teach to other people.
Yeah, a lot of it is so this is interesting, but I hope people can feel it when I write my emails. I sit down and like write them intentionally and slowly. I've always said it's like the one part of my business I romanticize all the time. And I pretend I'm like Carrie Bradshaw and I sit there and I write and I think of the person. I usually think of one specific person and it's different for each email. And I think, what do they need to hear today? What does Laura need to hear today? What does Janessa need to hear today? And I literally take a specific person and step into their shoes and imagine what they're struggling with. And I imagine I'm sitting with them as they're like crying on the floor of their closet, being like, "I'm so frustrated." And I'm like, "Tell me why." And then I can write and meet the need there. And that's helped a lot versus trying to convince people or talk at people about why they should do this or should do that.
Right. And that really does come through. And I
Thank you.
really want to encourage folks, if you're not familiar with Rachel, then you definitely need to be because
Thank
uh,
you.
just the way that I mean, it is like you're sitting down with a friend listening to you and and reading your emails. It's like I'm reading a text message from a friend. And the way that you share your information and your knowledge and your expertise,
Mhm.
I mean, you'll say like, I'm opening up my vault and here are all my here's all my content strategies and my, my prompts and all of these things. And it's just this heart of service that I feel from you, and which just is it's magical. It's not often seen in today's
You're
world.
not, you're not supposed to make me cry on this, but thank you. It's too early in the day to cry, but thank you. That's exactly, sometimes if I don't know who something is for, I'll write for younger me, and that helps a lot. And one way that I do this, it's never too late, by the way, for anyone listening, is by keeping journals. And I've kept journals not meticulously, but very closely for since I was 11. And I have them all. So we have like bookshelves and bookshelves of my journals. And I would write down my struggles and my pain points and the things I was trying to figure out. So I can go back to old journals and literally get back into my mind of I'm trying to build my website. I want to throw my computer out the window. I'm crying. It's 2 a.m. I have a podcast tomorrow. It has to be done. And I'm like, okay, I remember that feeling. I can write that.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. But even what I'm writing, like the last few months, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good a few years down the road to tap back into
Yeah.
these new struggles and pain points. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's so brilliant. Is this just kind of remembering like, oh, the problems I had in the past, I got through it. And so I can get through this too. And
Yeah.
so that it doesn't seem so insurmountable when it's right in front of you.
Yeah. And then if anyone does start like journaling or you haven't been journaling a lot, something else I do is I write myself, my future self, like notes of encouragement or reminders. Hey, reminder, doing this type of thing is going to work really well. It worked well for us now. It's always worked well for us. Or, hey, just a reminder, listen to this type of book over the next 5 days and you'll feel so much better, etc. So I write notes for myself based on what I'm discovering in real time is working. And I swear that helps because we all forget what works, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Mhm.
brilliant. I've not done the writing piece, but I'll think of something like, oh,
Yep.
that particular podcast I listened to, or that meditation, or that
Yes.
something that I did really helped me in this particular moment.
Mhm.
So I need to start writing those down and
Yeah.
cataloging it.
It helps, even if you just want to write currently reading, and I'll put those or currently listening to this motivational track or this meditation. That helps me so much because then I'll look at the pattern and I'm like, oh, the next few weeks I was doing a lot better. And these are the things I was
Yes.
listening to and reading. And it like, you could just dive right back in. It's
Yes.
so great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a shortcut for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
Mhm.
having a little guardian angel or coach in your back pocket, but
Yeah,
it's you.
it's
You,
got you. It's so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I speak for a lot of high achievers, when we have a hard time looking back at our successes, we're just on to the next thing. What's the next
Yeah.
thing that needs to get done? What's the next task? What's the next project? What's the next big goal? And when we can go back and say, well, where was I 6 months ago? And where was I a year
Yep.
ago? And celebrate that is huge. And it's something that I know I don't do it enough. It's something I try to encourage my clients to do, but it sounds like that's baked into you and your team and your process.
For the most part, I will say for a long time, I really struggled with celebrating, and I mean actually celebrating my own wins. And so I would celebrate, and it would sound like I was excited, but it's kind of like that smile that doesn't reach your eyes. And for me, it was like, okay, this just means it's time to take on something bigger or on to the next one. And I wouldn't sit back and like revel in the feeling of, oh, that was a huge breakthrough. And it's actually this year is the first time where I feel like I'm actually celebrating wins with the smiles that crease my eyes or sitting back at that extra moment and being like, I'm so grateful, you know? So it's like there's a new lease on my life. And I think it has a lot to do with just everything that's happened over the last few years. And kind of hitting a mental and emotional rock bottom and then coming out of it and saying, I'm never going to take for granted even the small wins again, you know?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. When, what was the point where you started working for the restaurant and then
Mhm.
marketing agencies? What was the turning point where you realized I'm really having a big impact on people, and this is something?
That's such a good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. Wow. I've done maybe thousands of podcasts and no one has ever asked me that. Um, I would say the last 6 months was the first time I actually felt it. I knew, like, in moments or situations that there was some type of impact or something, but I don't know if this is being a woman or being younger or being, I don't know what it was, but there, or having a low self-esteem. But I kind of always wrote it off as like, oh, that only worked because I used good copy. Or, oh, that only worked because the picture was one in a million. And it was actually working with my husband, Paul. We now work side by side. So he's helping me with about 50% of my content, but it's me and him. So we communicate fast.
Hmm.
And he was like, babe, do you not realize, like, when you shared this, do you see these comments? Like, do you realize how much of an impact these things are having on people? And for the first time, it was like, wow, I didn't realize like each piece could have an impact. So I would say the last 6 months, Paul's done a really good job. He was like, here's a spoiler. He uses the same words I always do. Here's a spoiler for you. It's not about the picture, and it's not even about good copy. It's about the way that you're meeting needs and listening to people and trying to just help.
Hmm.
It's making a difference, babe. You've got to keep going. People say like I miss you if you're gone for a few days. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Oh, wow." So when he recognized it for, and this is his first time like in the marketing trenches,
Hmm.
that's when I realized this is real because Paul doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah.
agree with him. I miss you when you're when you're gone. And I also respect because we all need rest and breaks, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. And he's been
Yeah.
a big part of making things more consistent so that I can actually get some days. So him and I can work on batching a bunch of stuff, put it out to, together, or he'll put it out for me while I go and hop on my calls or work with clients. And that gives me the room to be able to be like, okay, I can breathe and still make an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. And I know you talk a lot about that as well, about how how important your family is to you, and you share occasionally he shows up in some of your Instagram posts, and um
some some click calls. I'll make him come over. Oh, come here, come here, come here. And
yeah,
he like,
yeah.
reluctantly comes over. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the word that we hear, at least I hear a lot, is balance,
Mhm.
um, family and business. And for you, it just seems like, and maybe this is just how it looks to those of us in the peanut gallery, but it looks seamless. And I know that you work on it. And
Mhm.
so I know a lot of our audience has maybe not challenges, but kind of feels that tension there. So
Oh, and that's the
yeah.
norm.
Yeah.
That's the norm, and it will creep up on you even once you have systems and balance and leverage and team and everything. It will always try to like steal time from other things because like, when is it all enough? When is building a business? When have you put in enough effort? It can be hard to define like what enough is. So, a few things, I'll share a few things that have really, really helped. I have unfair expectations for myself all the time, as I'm sure a lot of listeners and maybe even you have, right? Like, we think of here's everything I should get done, and here's everything that should happen, and this is what my business should look like. So instead of trusting the never enough bucket, I have these are my dailies, and I'll have a list. And my goal is to get as close to all of them done each day as I can. And if I get all of those done, I have permission to be done for the day. So that helps me. And then I have time cutoffs too. So, like Monday is my one day where I tell my family, hey, listen, I love you all. I'm going to be working late. It's my one day to like get ahead on projects or next level thinking or strategy or batching for the next week. So that helps the communicated, this is my day to obsess over work. And then the rest of the week, it's like, I need to be done in time to cook dinner because I like to cook dinner. It makes me happy. So then it's like, okay, if we're having an elaborate dinner, I got to be done at 4:30 because it's going to take me time to get everything ready versus if I'm quick throwing together homemade mac and cheese, it's going to take me 30 minutes. So I kind of reverse engineer it based on dinner, and that helps a lot. And then one big thing, this was a luxury as my business grew. In the beginning, this wasn't able to happen, but when I started taking weekends 100% off from my actual work, I feel like I showed up better Monday through Friday.
Mhm.
And that's a hard one because you're like, I don't want to let go of these 2 days to get work done. And in the beginning, it is that tango or that dance while you're trying to get momentum going. But now I'm like, it is a non-negotiable. I have to have almost every single weekend off unless there's a big, like looming project that is up against deadline or something. So those have helped me a ton. And then one more thing with my team and with Paul. So we'll always say, like, is this a husband and wife? Is this as coworkers? Is this as parents, etc.? So we kind of try to like make clear which cap we're wearing when we're talking, and that helps so much. So it's not just 24/7
Yeah.
business conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love all of that. And
Uh-huh.
it sounds like, well, I mean, it's clear that you said non-negotiables and you have these things in your life that are really, really valuable and important to you. You know, time with your family, weekends off, cooking dinner. And
Hmm.
so you've created this schedule for yourself and
Yeah.
that is around those, like you said. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, the tagline in my book is create the life you love without guilt because
Yes.
that's what we are all here for, right?
Yes.
And I'm wondering how did that come about for you? Or were there times when you weren't doing those things and it just didn't feel right? Or how did all of that come about?
Yeah, the first probably, let's see, I think it was the first 6 or 7 years of my business. It wasn't that the business was demanding all of me. It's that I wasn't good at boundaries in any way. So I allowed the business to take more and more and more. And I always felt that problem of like, this is never enough. So and so is growing faster, or I'm going to be left behind. And it was all coming from this space of lack, like this fear, what if I end up back where I started? So it's not that the business was actually demanding that much. It's that I was allowing myself to be overextended in so many ways. And I think I overcomplicated probably the first 6 to 7 years of building um, by just constantly making myself available for things that didn't serve the community or move the needle. It was just noise. So I don't regret those years, but it was 6 or 7 years ago. Let's see, 7 years plus when I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1. I had a pretty public breakdown. It's documented fully. Yay. And I'm actually glad it is so that people can have conversations about that. And it was when I was diagnosed bipolar type 1 and I was getting treatment for that. They said, you can't be pulling these all-nighters. You can't be running on no fumes because this is going to exacerbate exactly what you're going through. And that was really scary. That was that chicken and egg cutoff. And I realized there was never a good time to put boundaries in, but there's always right now. And
Yeah.
you can always just start and kind of ease into them. And then I just followed it as closely as I could. And I stopped all-nighters 100% a year ago. And believe it or not, I've never been more up to date on my to-do list than when I cut those off and got good rest.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing all that. And
Yeah.
yes, glad to hear the all-nighters as a physician. Those are We
So
have to do them, but yeah. But what you shared about the this coming from a place of lack, that you felt that you couldn't set those boundaries because you just had to keep going, 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 going. And then you had this health scare, and we're almost kind of forced into it a little bit. Like you have to stop doing these things. And so I think a lot of us can relate to what's that turning point or what's that realization of "Hey, something has to change." And so starting to set those boundaries, you said starting small, and then what I'm hearing is that you realize that your life is more full even when you compress the amount of time, right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
that Parkinson's law is the time project is going to take as much
yeah.
time as we give it. If we give it 2 hours, it's going to take 2 hours. If we give it 15 minutes, it's going to take 15 minutes.
And
And
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you.
The thing that was so hard too was that during those first 6, 7 years of building two businesses at the same time is they probably actually only demanded 40 to 60 hours a week from me, like for two businesses. But I found ways to work extra. It's almost like, well, it's literally like I was getting my worth from the business growth. And
Yeah.
that's addicting. That's more addicting than even alcohol. I'm not a physician. Don't take advice from me, medical advice. But it was like, this is the best high. And so I chased it and created extra projects and stuff. And so it kind of makes me sad to think in hindsight, but oh well. But the compression, what it allowed me to do, the compression of time, like if I allow business to take up this container and then this container is for family, it allowed me to be more fully present anywhere I was. And then I felt like I had quality relationships with Paul and the kids and friends. And when I'm meeting with teachers, I'm fully there. It
Yeah.
feels fantastic, you know?
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think I hear that a lot from clients is like, well, if I take this time off, then I'm going to just be thinking about all these other things. And I think there's some a little bit of you have
Mhm.
to shift your mindset and just really allow yourself. You're giving yourself permission to take
Yeah,
that time. And you're right, it is an addiction. It's a dopamine. We are addicted to the dopamine from
sure.
it.
For sure. In fact, one thing that really helps me on vacation to take like 5 to 7 days off when you run a business can just feel really scary. So sometimes if we're like we usually do Disney. I love Disney. I love just hanging out in the Airbnb too and going to Palm Springs and I'll say, okay, I can do 5 things this morning. So if I wake up an hour before everyone's getting ready and doing breakfast, then I can get those 5 things done. And then the rest of the day, I can just breathe. It'll take me less than 1 hour. And then I know things are still moving and there's still lifeblood coming into the business, even when I'm gone. And we can still grow in a big way. Yeah, that helps, at least for my sanity.
Yeah. So you found
Yep.
what works for you and works for the business. And yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. By the time this comes out, I will have come back, but I'm about to go on vacation. And so, yes, and we're going on a cruise. So I'll be really disconnected, which is great. It's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm super
Yeah.
excited about it. So, um, yeah, getting my mindset into that, like, it's okay. I can take some time off.
Yep. I love that. Yeah. And do what works for you. Obviously, if you're on a cruise, it's cut off for the most part. I
Yeah.
would enjoy that. I would put up an auto response email and be like, I'm on a cruise.
Yep.
Bye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Catch you when I come back. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. I want to hear about this fantasy book as much as
Ooh.
you'd like to share or willing to share.
Yes. So Paul and I love fantasy. I'm a huge fan. I loved Lord of the Rings in high school. That was like my safe place. I was pretty nerdy in middle school and high school for the first few years, and I didn't have any friends, so I would like learn Elvish at home,
Mm.
uh, which is awesome.
Oh, cool.
And Orlando Bloom as Legolas specifically was my first big crush. And I was just like, I love how these fantasy books and movies can just transport you to a different time and place where everything feels magical. So Paul and I decided to write a fantasy book. Um, it's interesting because I can't share a lot about it, mostly because we wrote 93,000 words, but we wrote the whole book in third person perspective. And we read a few books recently where it was fantasy, and it's high fantasy fiction, invented magic system, invented language system. We read all these books in first person perspective, and I was like, ah, for some reason, this is really calling to me. And I just feel like this book is supposed to be first person. He's like, then let's rewrite it. So we are back to our first 1,000 words
Oh,
and
wow.
rewriting the whole thing. But basically, it is a book where it's talking about the old, kind of the old way of being versus the new. It's magic versus normal versus magic. It's like who's right? We don't necessarily know. It's um, potentially oppressive systems in the like monarchy or royalty, even though it has a different name, and a battle of a young woman named Nares. Uh, it's her battle of figuring out like who is right and what is right, and is that right for me, and what's the right path to take. And you kind of discover her secrets along the way.
That sounds incredible. I cannot wait until it comes out.
Thank
We
you.
can
I
all read it.
totally, I was gonna say I didn't do it justice with that. Paul would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's not how it sounds." But he's like, it's pretty fun. It's immersive for sure.
Oh, that's so cool. And we're going to find out when it comes out, right? You'll tell all your followers and
Oh, for sure. For sure. That
yes.
one's gonna be fun to share and release because for that one, we're not doing it as like a business thing. It's more like this is our passion and our putting creativity out into the world. So I have no idea what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful to talk to you. We'll definitely share all your social media and website with our audience. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything else I should have asked you?
Oh, you asked some of the best questions I've been asked in a while. So I'm going to say you covered some really good bases today
Thank you.
for that.
Well, thank you for being you. Thank you for what you create and how you inspire so many of us. And I am just so delighted to talk to you today.
Been awesome. Laura, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Rachel. While I am a physician, the information presented in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult with your own healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your lifestyle or routine. By listening to this podcast, you are not creating a physician patient relationship. Thank you for listening to the Purposeful MD podcast. If you like what you hear, please rate and review the show. Please also visit my website, www.thepurposefulmd.com, for free downloads or to discuss working with me as your coach.